Welcome to the Maryville University Programming with Purpose Student Organization Training Series. Creating a budget for your event and seeking funding is a key component in planning your event. Maryville Student Government offers opportunities for event funding. Information about MSG funding can be found in the Student Organization Handbook at www.maryville.edu/getinvolved. If you would like training on how to receive funding, or if you have further questions about MSG funding, you can email Maryville Student Government at msg@maryville.edu. Being a recognized student organization at Maryville University entitles your group to have a Maryville Unrestricted 12 account within the accounting system of the university. This enables your group to have a bank account for your organization's funds that are raised through your fundraising efforts. This account rolls over from one year to the next and is accessible for various transactions through the Student Involvement Office. It is not Maryville University policy to allow access to student organization 12 account funds by anyone other than active student organizations and their officers or advisor. With this in mind, at the end of each year, 12 account funds belonging to a student organization that has not been active for a period of 4 years will be liquidated into a student organization development fund. All requests to withdraw funds must be made directly through the Student Involvement Office. Several methods for withdrawing money may be utilized, which will be highlighted later in this tutorial. A couple ways to raise funding for the 12 account is fundraising and soliciting funds off campus. All events that will potentially raise funds for an organization will be considered fundraising events and should be noted on the Student Involvement Event Registration Form. Examples of fundraisers covered by this policy include, but are not limited to, bake sales, fundraiser dances and concerts, or even trivia nights. Recognized student organizations may conduct event-based fundraising projects in accordance with the following guidelines. The event must be registered through the Student Involvement Office via the organization's OrgSync portal. No expenses may be removed from the cash income. Expenses are to be paid separately following normal requisitioning procedures. All monies must be deposited into the organization's 12 account through the Student Involvement Office. Withdrawals can be made at any time through the Student Involvement Office as well. All fundraising activities conducted by student organizations that are not associated with an event should be reported to the Student Involvement Office online at www.maryville.orgsync.com/forms before the fundraiser begins. Completion of this form will allow student involvement to properly support the organization's fundraising efforts. Examples of fundraisers covered by this policy include, but are not limited to, working parking garages at sporting events, selling pizzas or other food items, or even selling discount cards. Recognized student organizations may conduct non-event-based fundraising projects in accordance with the following guidelines. The organization must register the event through the Student Involvement Office. No expenses may be removed from the cash income. Expenses are to be paid separately following normal requisitioning procedures. All monies must be deposited into the organization's 12 account through the Student Involvement Office. Withdrawals can be made at any time through the Student Involvement Office as well. Before soliciting outside companies and/or individuals, it is required that you clear this activity through the Office of Institutional Advancement. After confirmation of event registration, you will be instructed to seek approval. Please contact 314-529-6600 to arrange approval through that office. Fundraising provides opportunities for organizations to finance or subsidize activities not funded by MSG. Monies raised in these activities are put in a 12 account in the Maryville account system. Unlike the funds allocated by MSG, the monies raised from fundraisers and deposited in this special account are carried over year to year. Once you have raised funds or gotten funds from the Maryville Student Government, there are several options for ways you can spend this money for your event expenses. All of these different methods are outlined in the Student Organization Handbook at www.maryville.edu/getinvolved. This tutorial will highlight some of those methods. Contractual agreements for entertainment or services. It is required that any student organization engaging the services of a speaker, entertainer, exhibitor, or other service provider secure a legal and binding contract agreement by use of the Maryville University Rider that is available in the Student Involvement Office. Student organizations may act as the sponsor of an event, but are not considered the purchaser and are not authorized to make such agreements independently. Only the Director of Student Involvement, or designee, is authorized to represent the university and will facilitate contractual agreements on behalf of student organizations. Please allow at least 2 weeks' time for the Director to process the contract. Any contract not handled through this process is subject to be voided by the university and payment not processed for entertainer or service. When utilizing any campus service, examples, university bookstore, food service, public safety, etc., a simple transfer of funds can be made out of organization accounts. Please deliver any bills for internal services with approved payments to the Center for Student Engagement for proper record keeping for your accounts. Certain off-campus vendors or merchants have the ability to bill the Student Involvement Office directly when an organization purchase is made. These bills will come directly to the Student Involvement Office and will be billed directly to the student organization responsible for making the purchase. The student organization name must be indicated on the bill so that payment is made out of the correct amount. If a member pays out of pocket, he or she can be reimbursed only if receipts are submitted. Please make sure that a tax-exempt form is used to make these purchases because any sales tax paid will not be reimbursed. Tax-exempt forms are available in the Student Involvement Office. Reimbursements are processed once you submit your receipt to the Center for Student Engagement or Maryville Student Government. Cash reimbursements, under $50, take approximately 3 business days, and checks can take as long as 2 weeks, depending on when your request is submitted. You will receive an email from the Center for Student Engagement once your check is ready to be picked up. The Student Involvement Office can request a purchase order number from the university bookstore when required by a vendor. This must be done at least 1 week in advance of the purchase. For entertainers or vendors who require full or partial payment upon delivery of goods or services on the day of the performance or delivery, a check requisition must be submitted at least 2 weeks in advance to guarantee that we will have the check. These vouchers can be obtained through the Student Involvement Office and must be approved by the Program Coordinator of Student Involvement. When requesting a check made out to an individual who provided a service, i.e. DJ John Joe or entertainer Taylor Mason, a copy of the contract and a copy of the vendor's W-9 are required. Copies of a W-9 can be found in the Center for Student Engagement. An electronic copy can also be obtained online at www.maryville.edu/getinvolved. Note: contracts for all service providers must be processed by the Program Coordinator for Student Involvement prior to a request for payment by check. Prior to making small purchases under $50, a cash advance may be requested at least 48 hours in advance. After making purchases, the remaining cash and receipts reflecting expenses must be submitted to the Center for Student Engagement for the 12 account or Maryville Student Government for MSG funding within 2 working days after receipt of cash advance. Remember that Maryville is tax exempt, so you must use a tax exempt letter when making purchases. Finally, there are several stores that offer in-store accounts for student organizations, including several pizza establishments, event supply stores, and more. The CSE offers a Walmart credit card to be utilized by student organizations, as well as a Click and Pull account through Sam's Club. For instructions on utilizing any of these store purchase methods, visit the Student Organization Handbook. Whenever making purchases, a tax-exempt letter must be used. Copies of this letter are available in the Center for Student Engagement. Unfortunately, if you pay sales tax on your purchases, these cannot be reimbursed. Receipts for all student organization purchases using 12-account funds must be submitted to the Center for Student Engagement. Receipts should be submitted via the receipt submission form through your organization's portal on WorkSync. This form is only intended for purchases related to Student Organization 12 accounts, not MSG-funded purchases. For receipt submission of MSG-funded purchases, please refer to page 25 of the Student Organization Handbook. Log into WorkSync with your email and password. At the top toolbar, mouse over Organizations and click the name of the organization you wish to submit on behalf of. On the left toolbar, click Forms. You will be redirected to the list of forms under your organization's portal. Click on the Receipt Submission form, Student Organization 12 Accounts. Proceed to fill out the form. Fill in the organization name, name of purchaser, date of purchase, location of purchase, purchase method, and description of items purchased. If the receipt submitted for funds spent should be used to reimburse one of your members, please fill out that information. Note: we cannot reimburse for taxes, so please use a tax-exempt form in your purchase. Upload a scanned copy of your receipt. If you do not have access to a scanner, you are welcome to bring your receipt to the Center for Student Engagement to be scanned. Congratulations! You now know the important steps for fundraising, soliciting funds, and spending money. Please visit www.maryville.edu/getinvolved to complete your next training tutorial.